listen to this fool. I mean, come on. This guy is an idiot. And not only he's an idiot, he's not, the Chinese are not going to trust him. But not only he's an idiot, the people are not trusting him as well. And you can see some of the articles. This is coming from Washington. Waltzing in Beijing, Germany's Olaf Scholz plays US for a fool. So obviously people in the West are not very happy about his trip to see the Chinese. And you can see Scholz's trip to China sparks numerous objections. And even President Xi has said, Scholz's political trust is easy to destroy, hard to rebuild. And he's trying to tell Scholz in a nice way, you guys have been destroying the trust that we had when we had good relations with Merkel. But we're not going to trust you that easily. We're not going to open our arms and like give you everything you want, because you guys have broken a lot of trust. You've sent warships to the Taiwanese Strait. You've done a lot of things which are anti-Chinese. You've sent a delegation to Taiwan. You've done a lot of crap. And like President Xi said, trust is very hard to rebuild. And this is like a warning to Olaf Scholz. But I don't think Olaf Scholz is intelligent enough to understand that warning. So I want to talk a bit more about Germany. You can see here, start. So here he says, any change in Taiwan's status quo must be peaceful. So again, this is the same sort of shit that he's telling the world, while in the same time, the West is sending weapons to Ukraine. The West is doing everything to antagonize Russia. They push this NATO, and the West has pushed this war with Russia and Ukraine, and they'll probably do the same with Taiwan. And he's obviously chatting a lot of crap here. He's trying to blame China. He tells China any change in Taiwan's status quo must be peaceful. But what about the warnings to US? What about, did he mention anything about Pelosi's trip? No. Did he mention about, is he going to stop sending warships to the Taiwanese Strait? No. These Westerners think they can tell China what to do while they can do whatever the hell they want. Absolutely ridiculous. So he also asked China to press Russia to end its war. Is it stupid or something? Do you really think President Xi is going to call up President Putin right now after this meeting and say, yo, Putin, my man, what's happening? What's happening? I need you to end this war because my man Scholz came down and he wants me to call you and end this war. So this is why I'm calling you. No way. That's not, that's never going to happen. Never going to happen. This Scholz guy, he's only doing it for the cameras. He's there as a publicity stunt. He's not really interested in the German, industry, the German government, German people. If he had any sorts of brains whatsoever, he would not be saying things like this. He would not talk about Taiwan. He would not talk about human rights. He would not talk about, China to press Russia to end this war. The whole world, the United States has been pushing China to stop Putin in this war, and have the United States managed to stop China? No. So why does he think he can come in and say the same thing? Absolutely ridiculous. This guy is a real idiot. Not only he's made a fool out of himself in China, he's also being made a fool out of in the West as well, because the West is not liking him coming to China. They are not liking him at all. And this is why I don't think he's going to last. This guy's very much a damp squib. He's very much a weak leader. He's probably one of the weakest German leaders I've ever seen in my time. And, we're talking about weaker than Merkel. Even Gerhard was stronger than him. Can't remember his second name, but Gerhard Schroeder, I believe. But yeah, this guy is a weakling. So there's more, guys. There's more. So I want to talk about this. He had a lot of pressure because it says here Germany agrees controversial sale of Hamburg port to China. And this has caused him a lot of grief over the years. And lot of people, what many people do not know or understand is, you can see Germany's government agreed to allow Costco shipping to acquire a stake of less than 25% instead of previously planned 35%. What they do not tell you is any company from anywhere around the world can put in a stake of less than 25%, and you do not need government approval for it. So the government do not have a say in that kind of approval. So the fact that Costco has come in and put in a stake of less than 25%, it's got nothing to do with the government. You know, they can agree to that. And it's only if you want to stake higher than that that the government gets involved, and they said no. And that's what they did. They said no. Initially, they wanted 35%. They said no, and Costco bought 25% instead. And another thing they're not going to tell you is Hamburg port is very close to being bankrupt. So the Chinese actually coming in to help the port. They're not coming in for their own benefit. This is a win-win situation. You know, if they're not going to come in, who else is going to come in? You know, they're very close to bankrupt at the moment. You know, you can see the Greece ports, which is mostly owned by Costco, and look how much business the Greece ports are having. So obviously it's a good thing. So I have no idea why these Germans think that having the Chinese come in and take 25% of the port will affect anything. It's not. It's not going to affect anything whatsoever. In fact, it's a win-win situation for all parties. So this one, they made a rule that Germany wants to scrap Xinjiang investment guarantees amid concern. So any company which has got factories in Xinjiang will not get any investment, German investments and subsidies and stuff. But it tells you which companies are there. You can see companies such as Adidas, which is American company, Puma, BMW, Bosch, Siemens, BASF, all have links to the Xinjiang region. And another company which has links to the Xinjiang region is Volkswagen. Volkswagen is also building some really major kind of factories in the Xinjiang area. And they're not going to tell you this. And it says here, the Greens, which control the economy ministry under the co-leader Robert Habeck, has taken a robust stance on the human rights abuses in China. So anybody that knows the German government, it's kind of like a collaboration. You can have the Scholz side and you have the Greens, and they're both kind of collaborating to run the country. The Greens are completely crazy. You have Robert Habeck and you have Annalena Baerbock, who are absolutely crazy, proper hawks, anti-China, anti-Russian hawks. They would rather destroy their own economy, and they would rather see their own people burn than, you know, have a trade link with China or Russia even. And this is why you have kind of articles such as this. You know, Annalena Baerbock is actually going completely crazy. She's going, where is it here? Yes, Annalena Baerbock is going absolutely crazy. She's kind of coming onto interviews. She's talking behind Scholz's back, saying, "Oh, this guy has gone all the way to China. He didn't, you know, he doesn't respect us. He's not listening to us. He's basically he's a rebel. What he's doing is wrong. He's a traitor." She's going absolutely crazy about it, and it's all over the papers. And she is not happy that Scholz has gone all the way there, and she is throwing a proper hissy fit. But Scholz going there, he's not won any friends whatsoever. He's obviously made a lot of enemies going there. The West obviously hates him. His own the Green Party now hates him, and he's gone all the way to China to insult them. One minute he's saying, "Oh, we need your help." Next minute he's talking about Taiwan. Next minute he's talking about, you know, human rights issues. He's talking about Xinjiang. You know, basically the Chinese are just looking at him and just rolling their eyes, thinking, "Oh, no, another stupid Westerner coming here to telling us what to do." You know, he's not going to last long, guys. He's an absolute lame duck of a leader for Germany, and I don't think he's going to last very long. So how is Germany doing right now? German inflation hit 70-year high as economists warn of deep recession risk. So this is one of the reasons he's went there, because Germany is not in a good place at the moment, and he's got no choice. He knows that the US was involved in the Nord Stream pipeline. obviously with the UK as well, that being blown up. So the only choice he has is China. And don't forget, these Greens, right? What does the party's main you got to look at the Greens. The name says it all. This is a Green Party, and they're all about climate change. They're all about reducing carbon. They're all about all about pushing for renewables, making a good future for everyone. And these guys are just so warmongering. And where the hell? Let me tell you something. Where the hell is Germany going to get its renewables like solar and wind? Because most of the stuff gets made in China. China, the polysilicon is made in Xinjiang area. The wind turbines need lots of rare earth minerals, and China kind of owns 90% of it around the world. So where the hell is Germany going to get all of that stuff from if they don't have any, links with China? Are they going to, push it out their arse? Is Elena Baerbock going to give birth to rare earth minerals? What the hell is going on? They are absolutely stupid, guys. I just do not understand the rhetoric, the anti-Chinese and anti-Russian rhetoric. No more access to cheap energy from Russia, no more access to cheap goods from China. And that's the end of the EU. Like Borrell has said, that EU has lost its two major markets, access to cheap energy and access to cheap goods from China. And this is going to be the end of the EU. The EU is never going to be the same again. So talking about LNG as well, and obviously LNG is very expensive, and we're talking about 10, 11 times more expensive than compared to pipeline prices. And it's coming all the way from America, and Germany is also getting from other sources as well around the world. And recently Qatar has said to Germany, we can't give you LNG because we're completely full. And this is a perfect example of America basically using its allies for their own benefit. And they did this a couple of years ago to Australia. So back then, Australia and China had some sort of trade war, and China decided not to buy any Australian LNG. And America said to the world and Australia, we stand by you, we are your friends, we'll stand by you. And behind their backs, they buy China buys LNG from United States, and the United States basically signed a contract with China to buy LNG for 20 years. And this LNG China is buying from United States, and they are selling it back to Europe for about 4 times the price. And you can see that America doesn't care about its allies. They will backstab its allies any possibility or any chance they get. And they did that to Australia, and now they're doing it to the rest of Europe. They're doing it to Germany, they're doing it to France. And the lame duck president of France, Macron, said the other day, oh, I didn't know LNG from America is so expensive. They're selling it 4 times more than they sell it within the United States. Why are they selling it so expensive? I mean, Macron, do you not have a brain? Do you really think that American LNG is going to be cheaper or the same price as pipeline gas? Should have thought of that before placing all these sanctions. I mean, who puts these idiots in charge? And the same thing with Robert Habeck guy as well. He was complaining. But you should have thought about that before placing all these sanctions on Russia, you idiots. And you think America's going to come here and save you. I mean, America only thinks about their interests. They only think about profits. They don't really care about Europe. They'd rather see Europe crash and burn than see United States burn. They rather sacrifice Europe. They don't give a crap about Europe. They don't give a crap about anyone. And then now you have all of these Europeans who are literally falling off a cliff because the United States told them to. And then they're halfway around, when they're falling off the cliff, halfway to the floor, then they started thinking, oh shit, what the hell are we doing? you know, it's too late by then. Absolutely too late. So how's it going, guys? You guys got any questions for me? Nobody wants to join from Patreon and stuff. 166 viewers, which is not bad, not bad. Could do better. Don't forget to like. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. Hope you guys are getting a good educational value for this. And I'm going to go into one more topic, and we'll call it a close. Don't forget, you can always ask me a question, but you'll have to do it via super chat, because that's the only way. There are so many comments, it's very hard to pick one. So you're gonna have to kind of do it via super chat, and I'll make sure I'll get it answered. Or you can jump in. If you're a Patreon or locals person, you're welcome to jump in and have a chat with me. So the other story I was going to talk about is Britain. So let's go into Britain. So millions facing mortgage misery, what the Bank of England interest rate rise means for you. So a lot of you know that the Bank of England raised its interest rates to extra 3%, and 3% doesn't sound a lot to a lot of people, but 3% is a lot. Extra 3%, it could be the difference between paying extra £200-300 a month on top of your existing interest rate. So just to give you an example, I'm going to kind of give you an example. I've got a calculator here somewhere. There's a calculator. Oh, here it is. So you can see this calculator. It's a mortgage calculator. And if you put in, there is a bank called Nationwide Building Society. It's a bank that provides mortgages, or is a building society, same thing. And if you get a property for 500,000, 500,000 is the average price of a London property. And this is in a poor area, by the way. I'm not talking about a rich area. This is a poor area, somewhere in East London, somewhere away from central London, for average 2 or 3 bedroom house. That's how much you have to pay, 500,000. So say you have £50,000 saved and you want to get your mortgage for 450,000. You get it for 30 years, and you basically want to know how much your mortgage is going to be. So this is how much on a 2-year fixed rate is going to be, 2,680. If you pay the £999 fee, and if you put no product fee, you can see this jumps up to £2,767.80 per month. And this is the interest that the banks will charge you, 6.24%. Even though the base rate is around 3%, you know, the banks will always charge you a percentage over the base rate, because, you know, they got to factor in profit, they got to factor in administration costs and other costs that kind of they put in on top of it. And the banks will always kind of sell it to you for around 6%, 6.5%. So this is how much you have to pay per month, £2,767.80 a month. And let me tell you something. A lot of people, 80% of people in UK do not even earn this much. So for you to get this mortgage, you need to have a partner, and you both need to work. You both need to get good jobs, and then you can both split this cost. And with the way things are going in UK, nobody lasts in UK. Let me tell you something. Divorce rates have gone through the roof over the past few years, because nowadays couples are not staying together. You know, the rise of social media, the rise of Tinder, you know, is basically giving people a false sense of belief. People think that there's, you know, the grass is always greener on the other side. So whenever couples get into arguments, they think that it's easier to break up than to work things out and sit down and work things out. And I've noticed that a lot. You know, one small argument and that's it. A couple breaks up, couple break up, couple break up. You know, and this is happening a lot because people, they go on social media, they see all these beautiful women who are single, and the guys think that they got a chance with them, and the women obviously, you know, and the women are very like they also see kind of there's a lot of kind of men out there and stuff. You know, every time they go out, men are kind of hitting on them, and the women think that they can get anyone as well, and that's the thing really. And people, you know, back in the day, we're talking about 30, 40 years ago, before people had phones, before people had social media, you know, couples were actually sitting down, working on their problems, working to improve each other. Because at the end of the day, not everyone's perfect. You know, you need to not only work on yourself, but you also need to learn about yourself. Your partner needs to also grow and learn, and you can both help each other through that journey. You know, if you make mistakes, you kind of sit down, work it out, you forgive and forget, move on. But people are not doing that these days. People nowadays, they seem to be breaking up for the smallest thing. I mean, I go to work, I meet people every day. Sometimes people talk to me about their relationships, and I'm thinking, you broke up for that? Is that it? Because people are being people break up for the most stupidest reasons. I mean, one woman told me that, you know, she broke up with her long-term partner because he kept leaving his socks in the living room or something. And I said, you know, that is not a reason to break up with someone. You know, if that is bothering you, then you need to kind of tell him, like, you need to kind of tell him or kick his ass, make sure he doesn't do that again. But yeah, I think people nowadays, you know, couples are not, they're not for the long term. They don't kind of hang around together. So for you to get a mortgage together with a partner is very, very risky, guys. Very risky. If you break up, you might as well just lose your home, because that's what's going to happen. You're going to lose your home. You're both going to say, you know what, forget it. We'd rather lose the home than stay with that person. And this is the problem. People are stuck. And so this one is a 2-year fixed rate. You can also get 10-year fixed rate, 5-year fixed rate, 3-year fixed rate, 5-year fixed rate, 10-year fixed rate. And the same thing with 10-year fixed rate. You can see monthly payments 2,608. Initial percentage is 5.69. And this is a good value to get. If you want to get a mortgage, I would probably recommend a 10-year fixed rate because the interest rates they're going to keep going up, because you know the inflation's going up and interest rates are going to go up. Every economist will tell you that you have to raise your interest in line with the inflation. So if the inflation is 10%, you got to raise interest rates to 10%, and that's how it was done previously, and that's what they're going to be doing. They're going to keep raising interest rates. So if you're going to get a house, you try and get it as a 10-year fixed rate. For that percentage, it will do you good. But you can see the monthly payment is still too high. This is more than enough what anyone can afford. Even if you can afford it, you're not going to be able to pay any bills. You're not going to be able to pay for any entertainment, going out. You know, just not going to have any money left over. You're just going to be going from paycheck to paycheck. And if you miss 3 payments, then your name gets put into a credit file. It's like a Britain's own social credit system, and you will not be able to get any more mortgages or loans or anything if you miss 1 payment or 2 payments. And if you miss 3 payments, you lose your home. There is a process before you lose your home. They cannot take it from you after 3 months. They have to go through courts and things like that. But they will eventually take it if you don't pay the mortgage. Is within their rights to take it. If it does go to court, you haven't got a chance in hell. No judge can kind of look at you and sympathize with you if you haven't paid your mortgage, because at the end of the day, unless you have paid all of the mortgages off, the property is still owned by the bank because they've given you that money. So if you haven't paid it, you will be losing your home. And this is what happened in the 2008 financial crisis. A lot of people lost their homes, and guess what? A lot of rich people bought these homes for a very cheap price. They bought it in auctions. In United States, you have the foreclosure. So you can buy very cheap foreclosure homes. In UK as well, very cheap auction homes. And a lot of rich people bought these properties and they've rented them out and making more money. So the poor and middle class are losing homes, and the rich are just expanding their portfolio and building up their property empire. While the poor people can't afford it, they're losing it. Middle class are losing their homes as well. And this is what's happening. The rich people end up with all the properties, and the poor and middle class end up with zero properties. And that's how, that's how it went in 2008, and this is how it's going to be now as well. A lot of people are going to be losing their homes, and the rich are going to be buying them off at a very cheap price. And that's a problem with capitalism, and this